Okay, hello gamers. We have yet another set of patch notes, and these are very, very cool. This video, of course, is sponsored by EA, just to make that perfectly clear. However, I am, of course, able to have all of my own opinions, whether they're positive or negative. My messaging is not being controlled whatsoever. I'm just being paid to talk about Apex, in whichever way that might be. My only rule is to not be a jerk. So, pretty simple stuff. We have the Chaos Theory Collection event coming for Season 8. You can give that a look on YouTube. I'm sure this will be in the trending tab for YouTube very shortly if it's not already. This is going to entail a Caustic town takeover and quite a lot of brand new skins coming into the game. Now, we'll get into all of that stuff pretty shortly, but what I want to do is let's kind of hit the overall synopsis of what is going to be going on with this update, and we'll get into balance changes first. We'll do balance changes first, and then we'll go back up to the top, and we'll do all the other fun stuff after. So the general overview here for this video, or for this patch notes, is that Apex Legends is coming to Nintendo Switch, confirmed. Free-to-play, feature parity with the PC and console versions, coming on March 9th. So be on the lookout for that. We have the Caustic Town takeover, the Ring Fury escalation takeover, which is something that we'll get into depth a little bit later, but basically it's going to be mini rings inside of the main ring, so you're going to have a lot of unplayable space. But there is a brand new item coming into the game which will let you combat that, and we'll be staying in the game permanently even after this town takeover ends. This is called the Heat Shield, and it's going to have a brand new slot in your inventory called the Survival slot. Again, we'll get into that a little bit later. We'll do balance changes first, so those of you that are just wanting balance changes, stick with me for just like one more minute and we'll get there, I promise. We also, of course, have the Chaos Theory Collection event. So this is pretty standard with all the collection events that we are used to. Bangalore Heirloom if you get all the collection packs. And if you don't, every collection pack has a guaranteed either epic or legendary from the collection event, plus a very high chance for good rewards outside of the event loot pool as well. So let's move all the way down here, all the way through all the cool stuff, and let's get to the legend and weapon balance changes first. And again, we'll cover everything else after. So Caustic has been brutal, to say the least, in ranked and high-level play and in tournaments. He has been pretty much a must-pick, especially when paired with Horizon, actually. So he's getting some very, very big nerfs, and I feel as though this might be a bit too much for Caustic, but that's okay. Caustic has been in the limelight for quite a while now. He has been very oppressive and unfun to play against for quite a long time now. So hitting him way down and getting people off the character for a while, just to give everyone a palate cleanse, if nothing else, is a good thing for the overall health of the game in the short term. So what we're going to have here is his ultimate, the Nox Gas Grenade, is going to have its cooldown nerfed by 1 minute. So now instead of 2.5 minutes, it's 3.5 minutes. In addition, your Nox gas will now tick at a flat rate of 5 hit points per damage tick instead of ramping up from a minimum of 6 to a maximum of 12 per tick. Now it's just a standard 5 across the board, and it will never scale up. So that is a massive nerf to the damage output of Caustic's gas. So now you're going to actually be able to push through gas. You're going to be willing to take fights in gas if you think that you are at a massive advantage and you're willing to give up that bit of HP and movement speed and vision, but you think that even with all those things gone, you can still manage to push a fight. You can do stuff against Caustic now, so that is very, very good. We'll see if this is too much of a nerf and they need to buff him back up later on. Respawn has already stated in the dev notes here, which I'm sure you've already read, that they will be looking at this, and if he is too nerfed, they'll bring it back up. No big deal. Next up, Pathfinder. I'm sure everyone's already read this as well. Low profile is now gone. Pathfinder has fallen out of the limelight for a couple of seasons now, and it's hard to imagine why. With other mobility legends being so strong right now, both Horizon and Octane, although Octane, in my opinion, maybe not justifiably so, but, we'll talk about that maybe on stream, and we'll have our, our little whining sessions on there, but Pathfinder's been out of the limelight. Everyone's been complaining about his hitbox size for a very long time. Hopefully now with the reduction of, or the removal of low profile from his kit, he might actually feel playable again. I know that I'll actually start playing Pathfinder again because he was just feeling really hard to justify once Horizon came into the game and Pathfinder was low profile while Horizon wasn't. It's like, why would I ever play this character now that Horizon exists? So I'm happy to see this change, and I'm looking forward to actually playing my boy once again. Next up, Gibraltar nerfs. I mean, this is very understandable, very reasonable. Gibraltar has been pretty overbuffed for a long time. Who knows when he'll finally have enough nerfs to become a reasonable legend. But I don't know that this was really the thing that I would have necessarily changed about him, but it's what we got. Gibraltar's fast heal item usage while in the Dome of Protection has now been removed. So going inside the dome will just be normal healing rate, whether you're inside or outside. That entire passive from the, well, I guess I shouldn't call it a passive, but that extra little bullet point on the ability has been removed. So initially we had Lifeline with fast heals, and then she lost it and Gibraltar gained it, and now Gibraltar lost it. So now there's just no more fast heals in the game at all at this current point in time. I'm curious to see if maybe some other legend at another point in time, maybe in like a season 10 or beyond, might receive some kind of fast heals instead. That would be a very interesting little thing, but, you know, who knows? Horizon has had a nerf as well. Her black hole cooldown has gone from 2 minutes to 3 minutes. Honestly, I think this is completely fine. I think the black hole probably should have launched with this cooldown from the get-go. I don't know why it was on a 2-minute cooldown as it was. It was just way too good. Yeah, this is a very bog standard nerf that I have no complaints about whatsoever as someone who just no-lifes Horizon because I just love her passive so much. This ultimate nerf is fine. Next up, we have a Revenant buff. Much to the chagrin of ranked grinders everywhere, Revenant's silence has been buffed. However, I don't think it's really that big of a deal because it affects legends that, well, it affects 2 legends, Mirage and Octane. Mirage you just don't see in ranked by serious players for the most part. Very few people play him seriously in high-level ranked. And Octane, who the community is just not really fond of right now because his jump pad is completely silent. Well, it's not actually, but in the heat of the moment, it feels as if it is nearly silent and very difficult, if not impossible, to hear when teams full send on you with the jump pad. So a little indirect, well, kind of actually direct nerf to Octane by this Revenant buff, because a lot of people are running the Revenant Octane combo right now, I think is fine. I think that's an interesting little change. Makes people a little bit more excited to just have Revenant, even if it's without Octane on their team, and makes people have to think a little bit harder about bringing Octane when there's so many Revenant Octane combos. So this is an interesting little balance change that might, I don't think it's going to swing the tides, but I would hope that the usage rate of Octane might go down just a touch with a change like this. Next up, Wattson is getting passive shield regen at 0.5 HP per second, which is half of Octane's current health regen. So Wattson gets shield regen. I'm a big fan of this, just passively having this all the time. That's great. It makes people maybe actually want to play Wattson outside of super campy ranked setups. I certainly, I'm going to be giving Wattson a try with this patch update, because when Wattson first came out, I really liked playing as her. I liked being really aggressive with her and trying to set up fences on, like, directly on people in close range engagements. Like, she was a really techie character that had good AD strafing and a good hitbox that I just enjoyed playing as, and the ultimate was fantastic to boot. So getting this tool that is going to be very useful for me in just generally being aggressive and playing her really weird in the funky style that I enjoy, that's great. I'm really looking forward to this Wattson change. It's not much, but it's something. It's definitely very, very helpful. If it helps me tank 1 extra bullet in a close range fight and I live on 1 HP, hell yeah, it was worth it. Next up, we have Rampart, who has received a couple more buffs. First up, explosives will damage her amped cover with the normal damage values instead of dealing just a max critical hit of 200 damage and pretty much destroying it instantly. Secondly, her Sheila turret will take normal damage as well from explosives instead of taking a straight up 175. So good. Rampart needs help. She really does. Grenade spam has always been a thing in Apex Legends and it always will be. That's not a bad thing. It's literally just part of the game. Rampart should not be punished as hard as she has been for that. I hope that we see more Ramparts in the game. I'm going to hate playing against it But look, there was so much developer time and effort put into this character, and seeing her be completely unused for 2 seasons now, potentially going into 3 seasons once season 9 drops, I really want to see her get a little bit of power back, so we actually see a couple in my games, because if nothing else, there's just like kind of a lack of spice, a lack of variety, in the sense that we don't see Rampart. You know, the game has been really, really well balanced in the past couple of seasons for the most part, in the sense that we have a lot of legend variety. Like, we have like multiple different team compositions that we're seeing lately in higher level ranked, which are all viable and good. So if we can have Rampart in there as well to help shake up the meta even a little bit more and have even a little bit more variety, that could be very, very good for the game. So I'm looking forward to giving that a try. That's all we have for legend updates. We'll move on to weapon updates now. First up, all gold weapons, at least in the assault rifle and LMG tiers that you pick up, so like a gold R301 or a gold 3030 or a gold devotion, whatever the case may be in whatever season you're playing, they're now going to have a 2x bruiser straight up. Just a 2x bruiser is going to be on them, which is fan-freaking-tastic. Now, I've also seen on a Twitter post, and I don't know if it's in these patch notes or not, because I did give these a quick skim through it. I didn't see it when I read the patch notes, but I saw someone else mentioning that they think that the gold weapons will have fully replaceable optics options, so you can put whatever optic you want on them that the gun could normally equip. I think that's pretty neat. So I don't know if this part is true, so please take this with a grain of salt, because I haven't seen this myself in the patch notes, but I may have just skimmed past it. But it seems like the gold weapons, at least in the AR and LMG categories, spawn with a bruiser, and the bruiser may be replaced with like a 1x or a 1 to 2 or a 2 to 4. You know, whatever you find that the gun could normally take, that's great. That's something that we've been asking for since gold weapons came into the game. So I'm really glad that this is coming. If nothing else, at least a 2x bruiser. That's, at least for me, the optic that I want on all those guns at all times anyways. So good stuff. Even if I can't change it, at least it's the best one for me. Mastiff. Nerfs, nerfs, nerfs. Good. Very much appreciated. Pellet damage is dropped by 2 per pellet. If I'm not mistaken, the Mastiff shoots 8 pellets per trigger pull, so that is at max a damage reduction of 16 if you hit every pellet on the body of a normal legend. Your fire rate has also been increased from 1.0 to 1.1. So it's a little bit like interesting of a change, where it's gonna feel a little bit less like a musket, where you can only fire it once in a blue moon if you don't have a shotgun bolt in the thing. But at the same time, like, it's going to be a more consistent, like, faster firing, just medium damage option, as opposed to 2-tapping people at point blank ranges quite as consistently as it has been. So I think you're going to reduce that spike damage just a bit, and you're going to force the weapon to be used in a little bit, in just a slightly more sustained capacity, where really good players were going to more consistently be getting 3 taps on people instead of 2 taps. And with how slow the Mastiff fires, even with a 10% fire rate increase, it's still just going to be a fairly long TTK given 3 shots, if not 4 or 5, depending on your aim. So I think this is overall probably all the changes that the Mastiff needs. At least I would think so on paper. We'll see in practice how it turns out, but just changing the number of trigger pulls to kill with the Mastiff, with how slow the fire rate is, I think is actually a very big deal. So we'll give this a look. Hopefully this is the change the Mastiff needs to make it less dominant and give the Eva a little bit more of a chance. Wingman is getting a buff. I don't agree. I know that, like, controller players by and large don't like the Wingman. I completely understand why, and that is fine. But geez, oh man, if you get a TTV Wraith that knows how to move, knows how to aim, and knows how to shoot on a keyboard and mouse, that is just crouch spamming 80 strafing, moving 100 miles an hour, and is just a pub star with, you know, Mastiff Wingman, like, that Wingman did not need any buff whatsoever. The Wingman, by my hot take opinion that nearly no one agrees with, is that the Wingman has been overpowered since day one, and even after all the nerfs, it's still overpowered as a weapon. That's my hot take. I'm sure, like, no one agrees with me on that, but that's just how I feel. I'm shocked to see Wingman buff. I really am. I don't think the gun needed it at all. But as a resident Wingman main, I am happy to have it because, like, I use the gun pretty much at every opportunity I possibly can. I think the gun is stupidly good, and it's okay. I'll happily take a free extra bullet. I don't think you should give it to me, but I'll take it. Next up, we have the Hemlok, increased hipfire spread. I am not a fan of this change, as someone who does think the Hemlok is also a potentially overpowered weapon. I would have liked to see something changed with the recoil while aiming down sights, maybe, or maybe like a rate of fire reduction or something like that. But this is mostly because of my also hot take that I feel like aim assist on controllers in this game is generally a little bit too high. And it felt like the Hemlok, with its burst fire nature, was just it paired very well with the way aim assist works in most first-person shooters. Like, I just felt like I was being beamed down by Hemloks way more consistently than I would be by an R301 or a Havoc or a Flatline. It felt like the Hemi in particular was the assault rifle for like really good controller players to use to just beam me down. And I kind of wanted to see that scaled back with the Hemlok in some way, as opposed to the hipfire spread, because the hipfire is kind of one of the best ways for me as a PC like sweaty keyboard and mouse player to kind of fight back, because I can AD strafe, I can crouch spam, I can use tactics that will throw off and mitigate aim assist, and the best ways to often use those techniques are to be using the hip fire of the weapon, because it enables me to keep moving at my maximum possible speed, whereas by aiming down sights with the Hemlok, I just cannot really move. My aim down sights walking speed is so low with assault rifles. So again, I know this is going to be a controversial hot take. You don't have to agree with me. I'm not trying to disparage anyone by saying it. This is just kind of my 2 cents on playing respawn first-person shooters, which have had crazy high aim assist since Titanfall 1. I'm just a little jaded on that topic, so please forgive me, but I don't think that nerfing Hemi hipfire was the solution. I would like to see this reverted and something else about the Hemlok brought down. I don't think the hipfire is really it. I know that with the dev note, it doesn't fit like the feel of the gun or what they're going for with the gun, but in the actual practice of playing the game, I think that sometimes you kind of have to accept that your vision for the gun may not necessarily be the community's usage of the gun, or it may not be the community's perception of the gun. And sometimes you kind of have to accept, you know, what the weapon or just the thing that you've made in your game. Sometimes you have to accept what it's become as opposed to what it's intended to be, right? It may you may intend it to fit into X bucket, but the community has kind of poured it only half into that bucket and half into another Y bucket, and now it's like, well, okay, the identity has shifted in a way that it was not intended. Let's lean into that and accept that, as opposed to kind of force it a different way. So I think all this change does is it makes sure that I pick up a Hemlok even less than I already would, and instead take a Wingman. And it just makes me even less likely to ever pick up an assault rifle, because the AD strafing speed is just so slow that I feel like I'm going to get beamed down way too easily with it, unless I'm very choosy and very picky with my fights. So I don't like this change, but we'll see how it plays out, I guess. Next up, there are some quality of life changes. Now, this I did not really read through, so we're gonna do a little bit more word for word reading on this one and learning together. So the wooden shacks all around Kings Canyon should have a few more loot pieces each and generally be a little bit higher quality of loot. Good. I'm very happy to see that. I wonder if swamps might actually be a really good drop now, because if all those wooden shacks in there have more loot and better loot, suddenly that might be a decent place for you to fight. Next up, Spotted Lake has been reduced to medium quality from high quality. I do not like this change. I think high quality loot in Spotted Lakes was good. I like that so many teams would drop there and fight there, and reducing the quality of the loot there just means I'm probably not gonna drop there ever, unless I'm dropping hot somewhere nearby and it's just way too hot and I have to pull off to Spotted Lake. I'm generally not in favor of reducing loot quality across the map. I just don't like that in general, and Spotted Lake is definitely one that I think should keep high quality loot for sure. Crash Site has redistributed the loot in the area. The amount of loot stays the same, but the higher loot should be in the ship. It already kind of felt this way anyways, so they're making it even more polarizing, which is pretty bizarre to me, to be honest. There's just not a lot of room to fight in the ship. There's not a lot of cover. It's just like there are kind of 4 zones that you can occupy, and 2 of them have 2 back doors into them, so it's just not even really that great to land on them and try to fight on them for an extended period. It's I don't really like this change either. I think that the high quality loot was already up there, and by putting all of it up there, you're forcing Skulltown in an area that's like a 5th or a 6th the size of Skulltown. I don't like that at all. I don't think that's a good change. Caustic treatment is now going to have more loot than the old water treatment. To clarify, this is the town takeover for Caustic. It is called Caustic treatment now. It's going to have more loot, and it's going to remain as high quality loot. This is kind of interesting because Caustic treatment seems like it's going to be overall smaller in size than water treatment. Instead of it being 3 buildings or whatever it was before, it's now just 1 slightly larger building that's like very round, but it doesn't have the 2 little side buildings. So we don't have a great view of the inside yet, so it's hard to really tell what the fights inside are going to look like. But I mean, hey, this is the town takeover. They want people to drop there. They're going to put more loot there to handle all the teams that are dropping. Makes sense to me. Okay. This next patch note is the thing I was talking about before that I did not see. So locked weapon optic swapping. So for guns with fully locked attachment slots, like fully kitted gold weapons and most crate weapons, you can now remove the optic and replace it with a different sight. This does not apply to the Kraber. Very cool. So now you can put a bruiser or a 1x or whatever optic a weapon could normally equip on these otherwise locked weapons. This is very, very cool. And I also do like that they are disallowing the Kraber from doing this, because I would really hate to see a Kraber with a bruiser on it. That's just not something that I want to see in the game. I think that would be way, way too strong to give the Kraber a bruiser. So I'm really glad that they foresaw that happening and just said, nope, the Kraber just gets the weird scope and it's only going to stay as the weird scope. So good. Next up, assists have been added to the in-game HUD next to kills. This was already present in ranked and has been added to unranked. Assists still do not contribute to XP. This has replaced the spectator eye icon. Okay, so now you can no longer tell if you are being spectated or not. I think this is probably a good thing, because most people, when they are being spectated, just start getting really, really toxic, and they play really weird and teabag like crazy and spam voice lines, and it just promotes toxic behavior. So removing this from the game, I think, is probably a good thing. Plus, this helps with catching cheaters as well, because now the cheaters will never know if someone is spectating them or not, so they can't toggle their cheats off or just start not playing the game for a little bit until they stop being spec'd. Like, I think this is overall a good change to the game. You never know if you're being spectated, and that's probably for the best. Assists and knocks have been added to your squad's banners. We'll show at the end of a match. Neat. Not really a big deal, but cool. Items no longer stick to the crafting replicator when dropped on the replicator. Thank you, Respawn. Appreciate that. That's really, really good. Badge progress, whatever. Ping my death box. So when you're respawning on a dropship, you can now ping your own death box to help locate it easier. This is very, very cool. I like that quite a lot. I've never really had a lot of difficulties with this, but if you're in a loot box graveyard, sometimes it can be a little weird, so definitely happy to see this coming into the game. Also, a really massive change here, as we can see in this GIF. This is something that I've been complaining about for a very long time, and I'm happy it's finally coming to the game. Gold backpacks are receiving an effects update. Players being revived by someone using a gold backpack will have a crackle of energy based on the tier of armor they wear while the revive is taking place. They will also display the armor heal FX when the revive is finished. This change should help players prioritize pushing a revive in progress. I don't know if there's an audio cue with this as well, but even if it's just a visual, I think this is fan-freaking-tastic. This is the change we've been asking for a very long time. You need to know that gold bag revives are happening so you know how to play around them. You don't assume that the person getting picked up is going to be at like 20 HP or whatever, and they're instead going to be at roughly, what, 80, 100, something like that. So it's a massive change and a massive swing that you as a pushing player need to know about. So great stuff. Thank you, Respawn. We appreciate you. There's a few other changes as well. Just looking really quickly, I don't think there's a lot of stuff going on. Bug fixes. Gibraltar corrected an issue where Gibraltar was not getting hit registrations while simultaneously releasing ADS and shooting while his gun shield was up. Interesting. Okay, good bug fix. Thank you, thank you. Wraith players can no longer cancel Into the Void by jumping in a wall. Interesting. I never knew that was even a thing. That's pretty neat. Caustic fixed a bug that was causing Noxcast to flicker for some players being affected by it. That's a bad bug. Glad that was fixed. Repeatedly using the same jump pad no longer disables double jumps, whatever. Players no longer allowed to glide along a wall after using a jump pad. I don't know what this is. Is this some like weird movement tech that I'm not aware of? Let me know in the comments. I don't even know what this is. Crypto. Crypto's animation to bring out his drone is no longer skippable by throwing a hollow spray. Didn't know that was a thing, but maybe Respawn should just make the drone bringing out animation a little faster, huh? Who knows? Crypto can no longer teleport to a replicator? Wait, what? Huh? Wow, Crypto had some weird bugs that I didn't even know about. Loba. Fixed a few areas Loba could teleport into that would get her stuck. Good. Very good. Rampart bug fixed. Good. Horizon bugs fixed. Cool. Wait. Using a zipline after... Oh, this is a thing? Oh, I'm going to be abusing this on stream. So if you use a gravity lift to go up to a zipline and grab the zipline from the gravity lift, you maintain your like really good accuracy from the gravity lift, and you can just... Oh, that's pretty wild. I'm going to abuse that while it's still in the game, that's for sure. Fuse. Motherload will now damage and destroy jump pads. I didn't know it didn't do that before. That's weird. I would have expected it to actually do that. Cool, whatever. Drop it. Wait. What? Dropping and picking up the Mastiff will no longer cause it to be reloaded? Is that a thing? What? So you could shoot all 6 Mastiff shots and just drop it on the ground and pick it back up and it would be fully reloaded? That's wild. Oh, that's ooh, they on one hand, I'm happy this is in the patch notes. On the other, oh no. People are going to start doing this because they know it's a thing now. Oh no. Oh no. The 30-30 will now have spread deviation when ADS firing and jumping. This is a nerf to the 30-30. This is classified as a bug fix. This is a nerf. The 30-30 is already like the worst gun in the game. Why are we nerfing it? Just let it be good at something weird. Miscellaneous fixes. Don't really care. Okay, so that does it for weapon balance and legend balance. We can go ahead and get back to the fun stuff now, huh? Man, I should really be a good YouTuber and like split this up into 11 different videos so I can like 11t multiply my ad revenue. But we're not gonna do that because we're cool dudes here on this channel. Okay, Switch launch. If you play on Switch, once Apex Legends launches on it, you're gonna get 30 free levels for your Season 8 Battle Pass. You're gonna get 2 weeks of double XP, and you're gonna get this legendary Pathfinder skin as long as you boot the game on Switch by May 4th. Now, I don't think cross progression is a thing, right? I don't play on multiple platforms, so I'm not 100% sure, but I don't believe cross progression is a thing. So I can't imagine that you're gonna be able to get this skin on the other consoles or PC at all, at least not right away. And if you were to like boot up your Switch, I don't think you can just get the 30 free levels and double XP bonus and this skin for free and then just go right back to PC and have all the cool stuff. I think you probably need to actually be on Switch to reap these benefits. But please, someone in the comment section, if you know better than me, please sound off down below because I don't actually know the answer to this, but I don't think that you have cross progression, right? So like your battle passes and stuff should be separate, I would imagine. Next up, Caustic Town Takeover. I know we were talking about this a little bit beforehand, but now we have a couple of screenshots to look at and some actual stuff to talk about. So you can fill up the area with gas inside. I don't know if it's just like these little buttons on here you press to do it, or if there's like a master control somewhere else, or if you shoot these or what. It would probably help if I read, but we're not going to do that. But yeah, Caustic Town takeover. Expect gas. Expect to be very sad. I do not plan on dropping here much. That is for sure. We have Mirage Voyage being removed from the map. Very, very sad. But it should come back somewhere else. Probably with the launch of Season 9, if I had to guess. Next up, we have the Ring Fury Escalation Takeover with Heat Shields and the Survival slot. So as we mentioned before, we have a new just regular casual mode takeover where you're going to have mini rings inside the rings. Think of them kind of like inverse rings, where normally if you go outside the ring, you take damage. Well, with these special extra rings, you take damage if you go inside them. So they're gonna create cylindrical, just out of bounds zones, effectively. They will deal the same damage as you would take by being outside of the traditional ring. And you can use the brand new Heat Shield inventory item to basically create an area, like a safe space outside of the ring, or in the zone, as I like to call it, where you will not take ring damage for a limited amount of time. And if you actually drop one of these heat shields into the zone, you can resurrect teammates 25% faster. You can heal yourself 50% faster. So that's where the fast heals have gone. They're now on this consumable item. Now, you will not gain these benefits if you use these in the regular, the regular playable space of the map. They will only give you these extra buffs if you use them outside the ring. Now, if I'm not mistaken, every player will start and spawn with one of these. And this extra inventory slot that they are giving you for this, denoted down here in the bottom right, can also be used for your mobile respawns. So you can have either this or the mobile respawn in these. I would assume that you could carry extras in your normal inventory slots, but I think the survival slot is just a free added bonus extra thing for you. So that is very, very interesting. Anything else in here that we really need to talk about? Oh, this is also what is being called an escalation takeover. So normally these takeover game modes are just classified as a takeover, right? This is an escalation takeover. So that means that when it first comes in, you're only going to have a couple of these extra like rings that come into the game throughout a match. But as we get deeper and deeper into Season 8, it's going to escalate. So you're going to have more and more and more of them happening. So you're going to have a higher quantity of them. You're going to have them coming more frequently. They're going to get bigger. So it's going to get really, really rough towards the end of the season. You're going to have to play very, very differently than you do now to deal with the escalation takeover. I fully expect a very big shift to rank around like escalation 3, 4, and 5 when people just get mad at this mode. But we'll see. Maybe it'll actually be really, really fun and a breath of fresh air, just where it's forcing you to play the game differently. And that's kind of what it's all about when it comes to an RNG-based game like a Battle Royale, when it comes to a live service game. You kind of have to force some stuff sometimes, just for the sake of keeping the game interesting and different. So, I would suggest maybe try to quell the rage with this a little bit, and just accept that it's just different for the sake of being different. Whether it's better or worse doesn't matter. It's not a permanent thing. It's literally just different. It's going to force you to think and play and experience the game differently than you ever have before. And just accept that and try to make some fun of it. And I think it'll be overall a very good thing. Next up, no fill matchmaking. So they're not going to put solos in the game. We have duos and trios, and that's all we're going to get. So if you really want to play as a solo, or you just really hate getting your random puppies in your matches, now just click the no fill button. You can play duos or trios completely by yourself, or you can just get your one friend and play trios as a duo. That's also very, very viable. That can be great for training and practicing and getting used to fighting at a disadvantage and just making you a better player. It can guarantee that you get your Wraith and no one steals your Wraith, or it guarantees that you can play the new Legend and no one steals the new Legend from you. Although I would imagine that when a new season drops, you may have very long queue times playing on no fill, trying to get the brand new legend and be guaranteed the new legend, because they're maxing out at 6 no-fill players per lobby. So in a server with 60 people, you may not have any more than 6 no-fill players in it. So that can be 3 teams of 2 no-fills and trios. That can be 6 solos or whatever other permutation in there. Is limited to just that, which I think is probably a good thing for the game in general. So if you really want to play as a no-fill, I would expect that you may have longer queue times, and be prepared for that. But if you are dead set on playing solos, I think you probably don't mind about a little bit longer of a queue time. So I think very cool. I know that I've personally complained about the fact that sometimes I just really want to play a video game and I don't have anything I want to play, and Apex is just a good game to just hop onto and play because it's just generally good. But I don't want to deal with getting teammates and getting on voice and blah, and putting my headphones on and blah, 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 blah. So I just wouldn't play, because I don't want to play duos or trios with randoms and like just have like weird stuff happen. So being able to forcibly play solo and just accept the fact that I'm at a disadvantage, but I'm still getting to play the game, is pretty cool. I will definitely be utilizing this off stream for my own personal gaming time if I choose Apex Legends as the game I want to play when I'm off stream. Moving on, Chaos Theory Collection Event and Rewards track. A lot of charms, 1, 2, 3, 4 charms. You have a Horizon skin, an Eva skin, and I believe this is a Kraber skin, which looks pretty wild. This is like a brand new mesh that we have not seen before. Same thing for the Eva as well. So I'm really, really looking forward to both of the new legendary weapon skins. I mean, I don't know, maybe this is epic, I don't know, but whatever rarity they are, these 2 weapon skins are looking really nice. Here is a GIF showing off a bunch of the brand new legendary weapon and character skins coming with the next collection event. So we'll let this play through for just a moment for everyone to get a look through. These are some of the most exciting skins that we've seen for a number of collection events, in my opinion. You know, everyone's takes can be different, of course, but I'm really excited for a lot of the skins in this. I think a lot of them are gorgeous, and if Respawn does not, or EA or whoever does not give me a bunch of free Apex tokens, I may just drop some money to get all these, because they're pretty dope. I like them, like for real. Here is a GIF of Bangalore with her new heirloom. I don't know what kind of knife this is. I'm sorry, I'm not like a gun and knife care about her in real life. So it's a glowy knife. It has a hook on it to be extra brutal. Yeah, very, very edgy, literally. Anything else? We have probabilities on the event packs. I think this is pretty much the standard that we have always had for the event packs. So when you open an event pack, it will give you 3 items, of course. You have a 50-50 chance of either an event epic or an event legendary. And then for the 2 other items, you have a 70% chance for any rare, a 20% chance for any epic, and a 10% chance for any legendary. So these are very, very, very high quality event packs that you can purchase. So it's not just you're paying for the heirloom and all the event legendaries, you're also getting a number of other legendaries and epics included that are outside of the event for free. Massive quotes on that. And that'll do it for this update video. We did it in under 40 minutes. That is wild for us. We did a job well done. Less than 3 hours for a 3-page script is a great job for me, man. We did such a good job. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm very excited for this patch update, but even more excited for Season 9. I can't tell you any more than that, but Season 9 is going to be really cool. So thank you all for coming by. Thank you for listening and for watching. I will see you all again next week for more Apex videos, and hopefully sometime very soon on stream, although the streams may be a little bit limited for the next month or so, because I will be doing a cross-country move coming up in about a month, and I have to do a lot of work and prep in the meantime, which is kind of cutting into streams. So we'll see. I don't want to give you any you know, hard rules on when I will and won't be streaming, but keep an eye on Discord, keep an eye on Twitter. Links to those are in the description box down below for updates on when we will be doing some Apex and or variety streams. Once again, thank you all for being here. I'll see you again very soon. Take care.